Your dog isn't making a mess. He may be trying to make the world feel safe enough to sleep in. Dogs have been preparing their sleeping spots long before they ever shared a home with us, and what looks like a silly habit may actually be one of the most honest things your dog does all day. In this video, you're going to see 3 observable signs hidden inside that digging behavior, and by the end, you may never look at bedtime the same way again. You've probably seen it happen 100 times. You put down a blanket. You fluff the bed. And the moment your dog gets close, he starts digging, scratching, circling, pawing at the surface like something is buried underneath. Maybe he does it for 5 seconds. Maybe he does it for 2 full minutes before finally collapsing in an exhausted spiral. And most of us laugh. We call it weird. We call it stubborn. We smooth out the blanket after he's done and think nothing more of it. But here's the thing. That behavior didn't start in your living room. It didn't start in your home at all. And what your dog is doing when he digs, circles, and paws at his sleeping spot may not be random. It may be one of the clearest windows into how he experiences safety, comfort, and the space he shares with you. These are 3 signs hidden inside the digging, and each one says something different. This is not only an old instinct. It can also be an emotional ritual. Sign 1. The first sign is the one you've seen the most, and the one most people misread entirely. Your dog digs before he lies down. He paws at the blanket. He scratches at the cushion. He might turn in circles, push his nose into the fabric, drag the edges inward. And then, as if nothing happened, he curls up and goes to sleep. Most owners assume this is just a habit. Something dogs do because it's wired in. And in one sense, they're right, it is instinctual. But the instinct isn't random. It's purposeful. Before dogs lived in houses, they made their own beds. In the wild, sleeping on flat, exposed ground meant vulnerability. So they would scrape the earth, push away rocks, compress leaves, check for insects, test the temperature of the soil underneath. They were not just getting comfortable. They were creating a controlled space in an uncontrolled world. What your dog is doing when he digs at the bed is a compressed version of that same process. He is not messing with your blanket on purpose. He is working through a sequence that his body remembers, a sequence that ends in something that feels prepared, not just stumbled into. And here's what makes this sign worth paying attention to: the intensity of the digging can reflect the state of the dog. A relaxed dog often digs briefly, settles quickly. A dog that is more restless, overstimulated, or uncertain may dig longer, with more urgency, before he can finally let go enough to rest. The digging, in that sense, is not just nesting. It is also regulation. He is not just preparing a place. He may be preparing himself. Sign 2. The second sign is the one most people never think to notice, even though it's happening right in front of them. Your dog doesn't just dig anywhere. He digs there. On your side of the couch. On the blanket you left behind. on the spot where you were sitting 10 minutes ago. And if you pay attention to where your dog chooses to dig and settle, you'll start to notice a pattern. It's rarely random. It tends to be the places that carry your scent most strongly. A dog's sense of smell is not just more powerful than ours, it processes the world in a fundamentally different way. Where we see a room, a dog reads it. Scent is not just information. It is emotional context. It tells him who was here, how long ago, and what the emotional charge of that presence was. When your dog digs into a blanket or cushion that carries your smell, he is not just getting comfortable in the physical sense. He may be settling into a space that feels familiar, predictable, and safe, because it smells like you. This is why some dogs dig more intensely when they are anxious, when the routine has changed, or when they are sleeping in a new place. The digging is a search, not just for the right texture, but for the right smell. For a signal that says, "This place is known. This place is mine. I am not alone here." But here's something most people never realize about this sign. It can also work in reverse. Some dogs, especially those with stronger attachment patterns, will dig at a spot not to settle into it, but to mark it. To leave their own scent behind. To say, quietly, "I was here. This belongs to me too." The digging in this case is not comfort-seeking. It is communication. And the bed is not just a sleeping surface. It is a message. If this is already making you look at your dog's bedtime routine differently, stay with Pet Whispers. This channel exists to help you hear what your dog can't say out loud. Sign 3. The third sign is the one that hits the deepest, because it's not really about the bed at all. Sometimes the digging isn't about instinct. It isn't about scent. It's about something quieter, the need to feel in control of something, before giving up control entirely. Sleep is a vulnerable state. Even for a dog who feels completely safe in his home, lying down and closing his eyes requires a kind of letting go. A surrender. And some dogs need to do something, to act, to move, to reshape the space, before they can allow themselves to be that open. The digging, in those moments, is a way of managing the transition. Not from awake to asleep, but from alert to safe. You may have noticed that some dogs dig more before sleep during certain periods. After a big change. After a stressful outing. After a long day where the routine shifted unexpectedly. And you may have also noticed that the same dog barely digs at all on calm, familiar days. That fluctuation is information. The behavior isn't fixed. It responds to the emotional state of the dog. It rises when he needs more grounding, and quiets when he already has it. This is worth sitting with, because it reframes the whole thing. If your dog digs a lot before settling, he may not just be restless or difficult. He may be doing the only thing he knows how to do to feel ready, to feel like the space is his, that the moment is safe, that he can finally let go. And if that digging is recent, sudden, or more intense than usual, especially if it comes alongside restlessness, panting, difficulty settling, or changes in how he sleeps, it may be worth paying closer attention. Not to alarm you, but because behavior that changes is always worth understanding. And if it persists, a veterinarian or a qualified behavior professional can help you read what your dog is trying to work through. So here's what these 3 signs tell us when you hold them together. The digging is not one behavior. It is a pattern, built from instinct, from scent, from emotional need, and from the quiet intelligence of an animal who cannot speak but who is always communicating. He digs to prepare the space with his body. He digs to find your scent and settle inside it. He digs to take control of something small before surrendering to something large. And the bed, your blanket, your couch cushion, the corner he's claimed, is not just where he sleeps. It is where he processes the day. Where he decides, on his own terms, that it is finally safe enough to rest. Your dog may have been doing all of this quietly, every single night, right in front of you. Not as a habit. Not as a quirk. But as a conversation, in the only language he has. He was never just making a bed. He was trying to make a place feel like home. If this video changed the way you see your dog's bedtime ritual, hit like, because somewhere out there, another dog owner is watching their dog dig circles into a blanket and still thinking it means nothing. Help us reach them. Subscribe to Pet Whispers and turn on the bell, so you never miss a new way to understand your dog. And before you go, tell me in the comments, does your dog dig before lying down? Does he do it more on some days than others? I'd love to know what you've noticed.